across the 20th century. A strange pattern appeared in Latin America. Whenever countries tried to develop independently, instability followed. Elected governments collapsed. Democracies weakened. Fear replaced freedom. This is not a story about blaming one nation. It is about understanding why development itself created discomfort. Because development is not just economic growth. Real development means control over resources, policies, and decisions. And when nations gain the power to decide for themselves, global power balances begin to shift. Power rarely welcomes change. Latin America was never treated as distant because of geography, trade routes, and security concerns. It was seen as a neighborhood rather than an equal partner. What happened there was rarely considered internal alone. It was watched, measured, and often managed. The assumption was simple. What is close must remain predictable. Predictability meant familiar governments, familiar economic models, and familiar alignments. Independent development challenged that comfort. It raised questions about who decides economic policies, who controls trade, and who shapes political alliances. From this point onward, development stopped being neutral. It became strategic and deeply political. When colonial rule ended, Latin America gained independence, but without strong institutions. Colonial systems were designed to extract wealth, not to build inclusive governance, independent courts, or accountable administrations. So when colonial powers left, militaries remained powerful, economic elites remained dominant, and institutions remained fragile. Power changed hands, but structure stayed intact. Courts lacked independence, bureaucracies lacked accountability, and political systems lacked stability. Flags changed, structures did not. In such conditions, democracy struggled to survive, especially when pressure came from outside and fear was rewarded more than reform. As Latin American nations tried to industrialize, reduce inequality, and control their resources, development itself began to look threatening. Factories, land reforms, and national projects challenged existing economic arrangements. During the Cold War, any independent path was treated with suspicion. Neutrality looked like defiance. Autonomy looked like rebellion. But the deeper fear was not ideology. It was precedent. If one country succeeds independently, others begin to ask the same question. Why not us? Powerful systems do not fear poverty. They fear the spread of confidence. To maintain stability, predictable authoritarian regimes were often preferred over unpredictable democracies. Fear delivered order, but weakened institutions and destroyed trust. Latin America's development was never a conspiracy. It was a demand for the right to decide. For many nations, development meant control over resources, policies, and futures. Some powers responded to that demand with control. Others chose distance. India's experience led to a quieter path. Having lived under colonial rule, it avoided forced alignments and external interventions. It argued that development did not have to threaten others. Growth did not need to be zero-sum. In regions dominated by a single power, rapid and independent development often created discomfort. Economic self-reliance could weaken existing influence. Political autonomy introduced uncertainty. This does not explain every outcome, but it helps explain a recurring pattern. History leaves a simple lesson. Domination creates obedience, but cooperation creates trust. And when power fades, only trust remains.